Bumblebee is the sixth movie in the Transformers franchise. This one is actually a prequel. It's in 1987. It's set before all the other movies. So we're on the planet Cybertron, and there's that whole war going on with the Autobots and the Decepticons. And Optimus Prime tells Bumblebee that he needs to go to Earth and protect it and lay low. And eventually Optimus is going to come with all the other Autobots, and they're going to come live on Earth. So when Bumblebee heads to Earth, he eventually meets our lead protagonist girl character, and she takes Bumblebee in, and then eventually some Decepticons come down to Earth, and they all mix it up. This one is directed by Travis Knight, who directed Kubo and the Two Strings, which got nominated for an Oscar a few years ago for Best Animated Film. This movie was written by this girl, Christina Hodson, who wrote movies such as Shut-In and Unforgettable, which are two terrible movies on IMDb. They both have a 5 or below, which is awful. So I guess the writing filmography is not exactly the most promising thing, but nevertheless, this movie stars Hailee Steinfeld as the lead protagonist girl, and I thought she was pretty great in this. Very charismatic, very fun. I mean, it's a Transformers movie. How great does her acting have to be? But for what the role had to be, she did a good job at it. She was also in movies such as True Grit, where she got nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress, and she was also in the movie Edge of 17, which I really liked as well. This movie also stars John Cena as like this Marine Army guy, and he was perfectly fine in the role, although sometimes I feel that John Cena's celebrity gets in the way of his character. I just keep expecting him to say, "You can't see me," or something like that. I sometimes have a hard time separating John Cena from the characters he's playing in movies, but nevertheless, it's fun to see him in here. Alright, let's talk about some of the positives. I really liked Hailee Steinfeld's performance and just her fun interactions of being a high school girl, her interactions with her parents. Very funny when she goes to work, and she works at like this carnival selling corn dogs, and the other kids in high school make fun of her. I thought that was kind of fun there. I like her interactions with Bumblebee when they meet, how that whole story goes down when they're hanging out in her garage as they're getting to know each other and that relationship's growing. I like seeing Bumblebee just have fun watching TV, listening to music. There's this one part of the movie where Hailee has to go to work and Bumblebee's left home alone, and he starts exploring the house, and he's looking at the coffee machine, and he's looking at the blender, and then all of a sudden he basically accidentally destroys the whole house. Really funny stuff. It's also fun seeing a lot of the 80s nostalgia, seeing Alf on TV. But I think my biggest compliment I can give this movie is that it is comprehensible. I understood what was going on, and it wasn't convoluted or confusing like a lot of the Transformers movies usually are. This one, the plot was very simplistic, and there wasn't that many characters. It was basically just Bumblebee and a couple of Decepticons, and Hailee and John Cena, and a few other side characters, and that's about it. So this movie was very easy to follow, which was great. From a Transformers movie to not be bogged down in all the craziness they are usually bogged down in. I also really liked the visuals in this film. It wasn't as dark as some of the previous Transformers movies. This one is more bright tones, less darkness. And I know this is the 6th Transformers movie, but I'm still impressed with the visuals in these films and the CGI. It almost looks like they're actually filming transforming robot cars. I always was kind of impressed with how these movies looked, and it still continues to look good to me. On to some of the negatives, though. Some of these action sequences, while really cool, seeing these robots fighting, after a while it does get boring. It's just so much of these robots just punching each other, and it kind of drags on. And because this is a Transformers movie, you're always going to have some kind of dumb parts in it, like how the US government just decides to give all their technology over to the Decepticons, or how John Cena just constantly shows up at every single interaction between the military and the Decepticons. He's just always there. At one point, he somehow is in a helicopter that he's flying himself, and he's right in the battle. But I also felt that Hailee Steinfeld and her love interest in the movie didn't exactly click that much, and I wasn't loving that whole relationship either. But overall, I still like this movie. I thought it was pretty fun. It's not as good as Transformers 1. That's my favorite Transformers movie, but it is definitely better than a lot of the other Transformers movies, which were pretty bad, a lot of them. So I would give this film a 7 out of 10, which is pretty damn great for a Transformers movie. So I recommend it if you like the Transformers films. But I think most people can wait for it to come out on video, but it is totally worth watching. It was not too bad.